everyone, and welcome back to another Photo Mishmash, your weekly source for any and all things photo. I'm Christina.
And I'm Toby.
And this is episode 36.
My most expensive Facebook photo.
This week we're going to talk about Amazon Prime's new unlimited photo storage. We're going to give you our first thoughts on the 7D Mark II. And we're going to talk about backup solutions. Started this week by talking a little bit about our sponsors and partners, beginning with Squarespace.
That's right. This is really exciting. So we had a trial with them quite a while ago. They're back, and I will be talking lots more next week about how to put together a whole portfolio from start to finish with Squarespace. They've recently updated to Squarespace 7 is what they call it. It's this all-in-one, both hosting and website building platform for photographers. Fantastic. Just so easy, drag and drop interface. One of the things, I got asked last week, how has the transition been going from a full-time job to this being my full-time job? And one of the things, and you experienced this too, that's interesting is how we have to be experts in so many other areas besides like finances. And certainly you can hire people to help with this, but when you're starting out, you don't really have the money. And one of them is getting your name out there and building a professional looking website and trying to be an expert in WordPress and the plugins that you want and worrying about security. Squarespace just takes care of all of that. So there's even a custom URL, squarespace.com/Toby. You got a 14-day free trial.
And save 10% when you sign up.
That's right, you'll save 10%. As I said, I'll be back next week to talk lots more about that. So we're really excited.
Yeah, cool. So we also wanted to talk a little bit more about McKay Photography Academy. As you guys know, we got back from Italy from a trip we did with them to Italy, and we had a lot of fun. And we
ate a lot.
Took
a lot of nice pictures.
We had a really great time, and they enjoyed us being there. So we are already planning future trips that you can join us in. So as you guys heard, there's going to be an Iceland trip. I don't know that there are any openings left for the Iceland trip.
I think there is one spot left still.
Okay. So you should just log on to the website and just see if there's any availability.
I'll put a link down below, but the one that's coming up that Christina and I will be on is the Montana Bozeman Animals trip. That's this winter. I have it open right here. January 16th to the 21st. Now this is first off, Yellowstone in winter. Yellowstone is an amazing place. In the winter time, even more amazing. And just that kind of area where you're in the Rockies, beautiful winter landscapes, really fantastic. And David and Allie work with a animal trainer in the area, Bozeman Animals, and he brings a variety of animals that you get to photograph. Grizzlies, tigers. I don't know exactly which animals will be there. It sounds like grizzly is very likely, and some other fantastic opportunities. This is not like shooting in a zoo where you have to, you've got very fake stuff in the background and you're shooting through fences. This is out in the wild with some amazing animals at ranges that are super close. And safe, I hear, too, because there's a good trainer on hand, so no one will get eaten.
Yeah, and the next trip after that, so there are a few openings for the Montana trip, so definitely go to the website and see about signing up. Let them know we sent you. And there is a trip.
It is a treat and a trip.
That's right. A trip to Greece that we're also really looking forward to. It's in September of next year.
That's right.
And
September 16th to the 28th.
There are 2 spots left. So if you're really interested, I definitely recommend it. Not that I've been, but I'm very excited. Looking forward to visiting this beautiful, beautiful country.
I mean, Greece is really high in many people's photographic bucket lists.
Yeah.
Just fantastic opportunities and landscapes there. We're gonna do island hopping. Absolutely fantastic. So again, links down below to that. You'll be able to join us on that trip, and we hope that you will. Really looking forward to it. We're gonna have more information about these trips coming up soon.
Yes. And our last partner, Rav Power.
Rav Power, yeah, it's maybe a little bit of a stretch to call them a partner, but they're so nice and they have given me stuff. I have talked about their USB batteries before. They make a variety of products, but the ones that I love and that we literally use almost every day is their battery backup USBs. I've been traveling, well, we traveled in Italy. We used it to power the little MiFi card. We used it to keep our phones charged. I was just traveling, visiting family, and last night coming back through the airports in Chicago and looking at all of these people that were slaved to the wall. All of these people over on the wall looking for the outlets plugged in. Some are using laptops, but most of them were powering cell phones. And I just went and found a comfy seat because I had my little Rav Power USB thing. And it can power my phone for days, literally days. Yeah. Really excited. We've been teasing some of the giveaways. We're going to talk more about that in just a minute, but this is going to be a giveaway. I've got 2 of these nice little Rav Power 10,000 milliamp batteries. Small, lightweight, power your camera for days.
And free.
And
if
free
you win in the giveaway.
And reasonably priced. Again, talk about it. I've looked at the airports. There was that Moby or Mofi juice pack sold at the airport. Don't wait until you need one of these because that was like $130 for a smaller amount. These guys are like $20 to $30.
Really great value. Good. Really awesome product.
We've been using one for a year and really happy with it.
Yeah. So you sort of skipped around a little bit. And we're not going to do the weekend review this time.
Yeah. Just had the Sony A5100 review that went out. Go watch it.
Yeah. But
it has some strengths. It has some weaknesses.
We have a week ahead. And we were going to tease our giveaway.
Dude, now
have already done.
I did. I teased the Rav Power, but oh, there's more. And it's not all going to start this week, but well, let's start with this guy. This is interesting. This is the SJ Cam Sports HD DV camera. Basically, it is maybe a knockoff GoPro, might be a little too strong of a word, but that's what it is. I'm going to be reviewing this and comparing and giving it away. I think I'm allowed to give it away. Well, I'm going to. And comparing it to what I said was, you know, the new crusher of the low-end action cam market, GoPro. There was one place that some other action cameras, like the SJ, which comes in at about $90 with a coupon code. I'll put a link to this and the coupon code right down below that they've given me if you're interested. I have no idea how good it is yet. I haven't done any testing. It arrived while I was away. But this is the Hero, just the straight up Hero, the newest one, not the 4, not the 3 Plus, but the Hero comes in at about $130. This is going to be part of a giveaway starting over the next couple of weeks. Comes with a little SD card, of course, and head mount so that you can look foolish in the pool, as I often do, and a clip mount. So those are things that are going to be available. I've got, speaking of GoPro stuff, it's not all GoPro stuff, but right at the moment it is under the desk. Wasabi Extra, the extended battery backs for GoPro 3 Plus. I'll be reviewing these and giving away. As you know, GoPro battery life is not very good. Sorry, that was noisy. So that's exciting. And there are bags, and I believe a tripod, and some more stuff.
Yeah, so lots of stuff coming your way.
Stay tuned. One of the best things that you can do is make sure your notifications are turned on for following this page. So if you go to the Facebook page, I don't have it open, and you've liked my page, and then there's an option to follow and get notifications as well. So you really will get all of the posts because Facebook is doing some heavy filtering these days. And if Christina doesn't post it, people don't look at it apparently. Because you had some big posts this week. There are some fingerprints all over my new 7D Mark II.
Fingerprints? You mean paw prints? The kitty cats will all over that.
Oh man, we'll talk about that in a second too.
Cool. So yeah, stay tuned for those giveaways. Definitely subscribe to the newsletter if you haven't, because we'll be announcing a lot more stuff that's coming in the near future. But yeah.
Yep.
So
I can flip things around, change things up on you. Just a second. As I mentioned, I had issues with my 5D Mark III in Italy.
That's right.
It basically stopped working. I wouldn't turn on consistently. What? No. Okay. What we should do is call it the most expensive Instagram in my history, because, well, I sent it off to Canon to get repaired. It is back really quickly. Sent it on Tuesday. It was back on Friday, which was nice. Cost me $175. Saved 20% and saved 100% on shipping.
Somebody's knocking at the door.
We really need to hire somebody to answer the door when we're doing the podcast. So, wasn't working properly. I used Christina's 5D Mark III during the trip. Luckily, we both brought our camera. And as I was saying, for fast turnaround time, $175. Here's what they found. The internal component has been submerged in liquid so that the power supply did not operate properly. Internal component was replaced. Product functions were confirmed. Oh yeah, it doesn't even confirm that they did. So, it got wet. Submerged? No. This camera has never been submerged.
Well, I mean, not like okay, fine, not submerged, but
rained
it has a lot of rain. To the extent that you were like super proud of it.
Well,
bragged about it.
I did. I posted on Instagram. And on the DPR page too. Maybe you remember this picture of the camera quite wet with a Sigma lens attached to it. I don't believe that the water entered at the Sigma lens. Sigma lenses are not weather sealed. I didn't realize that at the time. Zach pointed it out to me. But these cameras are weather sealed to a degree that I would have thought it would have been okay. And it didn't exhibit any moisture under the LCD or anywhere really that looked like it was getting in there.
I mean, it was pretty clear that the LCD is different from like this dial and then these buttons right here. Oops, I accidentally just hit the focus button.
Are we still in focus?
I think so.
Let's hope so. Okay.
We can try to do it again.
Okay, focusing issues out of the way now. So yes, it got wet, apparently. I didn't think it got that wet, but it did, clearly, because it needed to be repaired and is working properly now. Nice thing is they've replaced the whole top, so it looks all new up top. No, so shiny, no scratches on my LCD or anything. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, now we can continue on, and we should say we're going to talk a little bit about this in the news. Well, let's talk about that. Ready to talk about the news?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about Sony first.
All right.
Sony has added pro-level support now for photographers. Now, we are members, or I should say more specifically, you and your business are a
CPS.
Canon CPS member. What's CPS stand for?
Canon Professional Services.
Canon Professional Services. You're the gold level. And you have to own a certain amount of gear.
In order to be able to qualify.
In order to be able to qualify.
Yeah.
But you also pay an amount, right?
Yes.
How much do you pay? Do you know?
$100 a year, I believe.
Okay, $100 a year. So that gives you a 20% discount. I'm looking at my little repair bill here. 20% discount on labor and 100% on shipping back. So that's just saved us $60, almost $70 on one repair. That's
significant.
Yeah, that's significant. Plus, you get those free clean and checks a couple times a year, right?
Yeah. So I believe now they have 5 free clean and checks.
Okay. So, but we're really kind of talking about the fact that Sony now has offered this pro support level in an effort to really step up and be on par with Canon and Nikon. I really should say Canon. Nikon's pro level support, I have never heard anything good about. Their repair times are very slow. Their customer support is not great. This is at the professional level. At the consumer level, I've heard a lot of horror stories, but they seem to have been getting much better in recent years. Professional level still. Canon, though, as I said, very quick turnaround time.
Sometimes.
We're in Vermont. We had to send it to New Jersey, so it's not too far to go. But there are other repair centers around. But we're also considering looking at third-party repairs as a way to save money in the future, because some of like lenses that we've sent in recently.
Yeah, it hasn't really made sense to pay.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we think that third parties might save us some money, but we haven't really explored that yet.
So we should try it out.
So we should. But Sony's expert support, professional enrichment, and repair facilities and loans with quick turnaround time. So I think it's very interesting. It's Sony's clearly indicating that they want a bigger piece of the professional level market. They're producing these cameras at that level. And so it's good for them to add support too. And it'll be interesting to hear how people are, what people are saying about this as we move forward. And I don't know if we have similar services from like Fuji, because the Fuji X-T1 is just so hot right now. And you hear these stories, not every day, but often enough, of professionals ditching Canon and Nikon and going with Fuji, that I wonder if they offer the same thing.
Yeah, cool. So last week we talked about astronaut time-lapse, was it? Or photos?
Just photography.
Yeah.
Taking
that's right.
Yeah, Chris
photography.
Hadwick, a Canadian astronaut who is an amazing photographer, has been in the space station for many, 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 many months.
And so this week we have a time-lapse created by, actually, who created it? Was it an astronaut? And
it was not an astronaut, but it was all of the images that have been, not all of them, but many of the images that have been created in the, from the space station over the course. And it's very different than many of the time lapses we've seen up to this point, because it's set to kind of techno music, and it's a much quicker and fast, but some really amazing photos put together into a really cool video. So you're seeing a little bit of that now, but you check the link right down below to go watch this in full HD definition. It's not that long, you know, it's like a couple of minutes. Yeah, it's under 3 minutes. Certainly worth your time to go watch. Very cool.
Yeah.
Photos from space. Who doesn't love photos from space?
Very true. So Kodak got a new action cam. Have we talked about this, or is this completely brand new?
Completely brand new. There have been a lot. We haven't talked about all of the action cameras coming. Drift has a brand new little one. But I thought this one was interesting because...
looks like a little spaceship.
It looks like a little spaceship. I actually thought it looked like a little dome on top of a Kodak roll of film. Or not a roll of film, but a film box.
Yeah.
Because they've taken that Kodak coloring. It is interesting in that it offers 360-degree view.
Oh.
Completely panoramic if you want. 360 dome view or
what do you do with that?
That's the question. So you've got the ring view, you've got the dome view, you've got a front and rear view split. So you could wear this on the top of your head bicycling, and you could see people in front of you and behind you. It's pretty trippy to watch. I mean, there are certainly mini GoPro videos where they've got a camera pointing forward and pointing backward, and you can like switch back and forth. But to have both on the screen at the same time, you've got the 360 panorama, and you've got a globe view. Globe view and the dome view are quite similar.
Let's talk about these action cams for a little while.
Yeah.
Because there's, you know, there's...
Let's talk about them.
There's the GoPro, which, you know, kind of pioneered this. Then Sony has released, you know, they have an action cam as well. And it has its own features that are different from the GoPro. And then there are a lot of these other ones that have just recently come out, and I cannot help but feel...
Ricoh, that one that looked awesome that you poo-pooed because it was a little too manly looking.
Yes. They just feel gimmicky to me. You know, like, they don't feel very original. I mean, this like front and back thing, that does not feel very original to me.
No, I gotta give this one credit for offering something that none of the other ones that I know of do. Look at that, we almost got eaten by an eel.
Yeah, but is that using the full features? It's full features of front and back and the whole dome thing?
Not always, no.
Right, like none of these videos are.
You're missing it. It does switch to it every once in a while, showing you some of the other options. And you can switch to, this one, 360 paddleboard panorama. There we go.
That's just trippy. Like, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah, it's right. That person's got the longest legs ever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Monster.
I mean, I want to give this one credit for the fact that it does offer something that none of the others do.
Okay, it's different, I'll give you that.
It's different.
But is it useful? Is it really worth spending money on it? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And it's not cheap either. They're a little pricey. I think they're in the neighborhood of $300-ish dollars. And yeah,
just feels
$349.
Like they're different to be different, not because they actually, you know, add much to this spectrum.
And I have to say, the quality from the stills I'm seeing is not impressive. The video is a little bit better. Video can hide.
Video is very forgiving.
Video is very forgiving. Yes. Okay.
Cool. And so our last news piece is Amazon Prime and its new unlimited photo storage, including RAWs.
That's right. So if you are a Prime member, it's already gone because they're now announcing this Echo. Have you heard about the Echo?
No, what is the Echo?
Well, we just turned this into a tech podcast instead of a photo podcast.
Just briefly talk.
It is a little speaker and microphone that sits in your house and is connected wirelessly to your internet. Oh, speaking of wireless, one thing that I thought was funny. The SJ Cam offers wireless Wi-Fi.
Wireless Wi-Fi.
That is so much better than that pesky wired Wi-Fi. Okay.
What a concept.
So the Echo is this little speaker microphone that sits in your house, connects to your Wi-Fi, and you can ask it questions like Siri, and it will respond. It has no real interface other than an app, but you don't really use the app other than to set it up. And then it just sits there and you say, I don't know what you say. I don't think you say Echo or something like that. And
is it like that creepy bot that we saw a video of that was on Kickstarter that was like watching you and following you the whole time, like all the time?
Yes and no. It is supposed to be listening all the time. And answering questions like you're cooking something and you say, oh, how many ounces are in a pound?
Yeah, that is useful.
Or, you know, I don't know what else you can ask it. I think
seems a little bit like very limited in its use to like buy something to put in your house all the time.
Well, you could also ask it to play music. Your hands are all, you're making donuts, and then you'd be like, I really want to listen to some Junip right now.
I want some donuts.
Play some Junip. Don't we all want donuts? So I'm trying to get to the Amazon Prime stuff right here. And I hope that there's a big splash page that says...
There is none.
There's none, of course not. So... about Amazon Prime. Come on, somewhere you got to give me this nice Prime Photos, about Prime Photos. Oh my gosh. They have... All right. Long story short, Amazon, if you are a US Prime customer, you now have unlimited photo storage space for all of your photos, including RAWs.
That's pretty amazing.
And TIFFs.
That's really amazing.
Not PSDs. And there are some RAW files from some cameras that seem to get rejected. But DNGs, yes, okay. So you can use Lightroom to turn all of your RAWs into DNGs and put them up there. There is a small fine print that says not useful, or you cannot use this for professional photography backup.
Oh, okay.
But for personal photos, that's awfully nice to have that space there. If you stop being a Prime member, you have, I think, 5 gigabytes free, and if you're over that amount, they'll tell you and say for a couple of months, they'll give you warnings, and then after that, they say they will delete your stuff. So if you're not paying. So now, we're what is it? Prime's now like $89 a year, I think. Free 2-day shipping, the music, the streaming movies and videos. I'd say the music is fairly limited. I'm not super impressed with it. But being mostly Prime members for the shipping, these other things are nice. And having this option for photos as well is nice. They have iOS and Android apps. The interface is a little clunky, not super friendly, but seems to work fairly well. I've only played with a little bit, uploaded some files, RAW files. They certainly went up. The upload speed is fine. I mean, that's limited to your home internet speed. So we kind of wanted this to lead into our discussion
about
backups and run through some options. We're going to kind of be light on this and just kind of run through the options. What I'd really like to do is in the next week or so put together a blog post with a little table that really kind of outlines these different ones. But let's talk about some of the options you have for backing up your photos. And let's say, we're going to approach this from a personal, but we'll note a couple of them that can certainly be used for professional.
Sure.
Good? Oh, but before we got into that, I thought it would be nice to step back a little bit and say, you know, how do we keep our photos safe from the beginning, the moment we take them? Especially on a trip like Italy, when you're traveling and you're taking lots of pictures.
Well, if you have a camera that has 2 card slots, you can shoot to, you can back up to a second card slot, right? So that's some backup. If you need to format that either one of those cards for whatever reason, then you probably should have, an external hard drive and then a copy on your computer. So ideally you want at least 2 copies, possibly 3, just for worst case scenario. Yeah. But
while you're traveling?
Yeah, I mean, I think while you're traveling, unless it's like professional photos or like really, really, really important photos, I would do like 2. I would do like a copy on your hard drive. And then, if you can have the photos, that's an argument for getting a larger memory card that you can keep the photos there. You can have them on an external and then your computer as well. Yeah. So then you have 3, in case something happens. The other thing, if you have the nice thing, or not the nice thing, but one thing to account for is theft. If your backpack gets stolen with all of your stuff in it, that's a problem because you lose all of your pictures. So you should probably keep things separate. Make sure you keep one of those things with you at all times. Make sure that you have everything. Now, obviously, that's worst case scenario, but
right, and it's not right. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
It's not. It's not very much fun to be paranoid, but also taking a couple simple steps can make a really sad story into one with a kind of a happy ending.
Yeah.
In Italy, I was mostly shooting just the 1 card, but what I would do, and it's a big 64 gigabyte card, and I never ran out of space on that. I mean, that's a lot of space even for shooting with a really higher megapixel camera. Every day, usually, I would download the images to my computer and back them up to this little external 1 terabyte Transcend drive. This is USB 3. I'm really happy with it. We've talked about it before. You've bought one since. They're good, like $60, $70. I've heard really bad things about the Lacy rugged drives, which are similar but more expensive. I've heard a lot of horror stories recently about those.
Yeah, I really like this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm frustrated about is because it's USB 3.0, I always forget.
Oh, yes.
I always try to plug it in the wrong way. But I would not reformat the card. I just put the card back in the camera and continue to shoot on that same card, accruing images. So it added up and added up, but I'd have incremental backups right here. So that immediately was 2 places, plus, truthfully, I did not actually make a copy. I only had smart previews on the computer, which is certainly better than nothing, but is not full resolution.
You can't print those.
There's no way to recover them? Aren't they little DNGs?
As far as I know, you can't. But I could be wrong.
I'll have to look into that. Look that up. I should know that since I'm was relying on that as a fail-safe. Yeah. So then we get back home. They go onto the master external drive and get backed up to Crash Plan, which we're going to talk about some of these different options right here. But remember that backup 3, 2, 1. 3 copies on at least 2 different types of media, 1 of those off-site. And that's where something like Amazon Prime comes into play, or some of the other options. So a lot of different options. I think the one at the top of most people's lists, and especially if professional, is Crash Plan. That is a little piece of software you can run completely free, and they have a free service. But if you pay, you get unlimited right to their, I have it open here so I'm not blabbing and saying the wrong thing. Yeah, you can, okay. So the software, free software, will just handle local backups to external drives. And if you've got a very close friend or a relative that you trust, this is a completely free way to have an off-site backup. You can back up to their computer or their drive at their house and vice versa for you. So
this is what I would do if I didn't have tons and tons and tons of data to back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just go with the free and then back up to a friend's and then have them back up to me. That seems like the easiest, most convenient thing.
Yeah, but if you don't have a friend or a relative or don't want to burden them with your files, and it's all encrypted too. It's not like you're sending your pictures of your dog in compromising poses. $4 a month, $60 a year. You can put it online. Are you making faces at me about dog? And that is really nice, You can plug in external drives. It will take data off those external drives. Really full featured, lots of options. Whole family for $10 a month, $120 a year, peace of mind. This is the kind of backup solution where it just works and you don't have to think about it and remember to plug in that drive or switch those drives around, because that, some of you might be better than me, but that kind of backup has not worked for me in the past. I need something that just works. Forget about it. But there are other options that people like. Backblaze is another one that people really talk about. Similar pricing. I think they have a little, yeah, right here. Here's a little chart that kind of goes over the different ones. They're a tiny bit cheaper. They also back up to external, or use, sorry, they back up your external drives as well. And they say they have a native Mac PC client, which CrashPlan does not. CrashPlan does. I think this might be an older chart, so we're not going to compare that so much.
They definitely do.
Carbonite, quite nice as well, but it's a little bit more finicky about what gets backed up. You have to set that up in a little bit more detail. And it's not going to back up your external hard drives unless you buy their extra plan, which is a lot more expensive than $60 a month. And then there's iCloud, which I cannot get mine to work. Really? Right? Don't think so? Well, iCloud has some good pricing.
Does it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, I thought they didn't.
In the US, we've got 20 gigabytes for 99 cents a month. 200 gigabytes for $4. Now, for most people taking personal pictures, 200 gigabytes is going to last you for quite a while. And I imagine that these prices are going to go down as storage and transportation costs go down as well. $10 a month gets you 500 gigabytes. That's a lot. But, this is really designed to work with iPhoto, and it kind of makes these preview files as well. And truthfully, I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't understand 100%. I'm having deja vu to an earlier conversation about iPhoto and iCloud and the changes that they were making. But it works very similar in making preview files for you, and it keeps your raw copies raw copies up in the cloud, and then it gives you these preview files that you can work with.
Yeah.
So
then there's also Dropbox.
Yes, but keep in mind that Dropbox is more syncing than backup.
Yeah, that's right.
But really, I think everybody should have their free 2 gigabyte Dropbox account or the Google Drive account, which is similar. But I really like the interface of Dropbox. I have a hard time giving up on it, even though there are other options now, and use it frequently. Dropbox is how I get my DSLR photos over to Instagram. I have a video about that if you're interested. Search my YouTube page for DSLR, Instagram, Dropbox workflow.
Yep. And there's Amazon, which we talked about.
Amazon we just talked about.
Prime,
that's right.
You have unlimited, so you don't have to think about if you already have a Prime account, then you've already got that.
Downside to that, though, is that there is no automated system right now.
That's true.
You got to drag folders over into their browser and hope that it goes.
I see. Yeah, that is kind of a big downside, actually.
That is.
And then lastly, SmugMug and Zenfolio. Zenfolio offers raw backup, don't they?
Yep, and so does SmugMug.
So does SmugMug.
Both of them. They have a cost based on the amount you're backing up, and this is on top of already paying them for your galleries per year, anywhere from like $100 to $200 a year. Both offer some really nice features in that you can upload the JPEGs and the RAWs, and they know where they recognize each other, and when you go into a gallery, you can say, oh, here's the JPEG, or here is the RAW of that same if you want it back. Prices are very reasonable, and also with CrashPlan too, you don't have to use their servers. You can go to one of the other myriad of cloud servers that are out there, like the Amazon Glacial Storage and things of that sort as well. Is there anything else on the list?
I don't think so. Okay. I think we talked about them all.
What else is out there? Shoebox is a interesting one that I would not recommend because it only does JPEGs. It doesn't do RAW files. The free version, screen quality backups only. So that's I think if you hold your mouse over, it says, 1024 pixels on the longest side.
Wow.
Basically, viewing on the web is all that would be good for. If you pay $5 a month, you can get original quality backups, JPEG and PNG only. So those are both lossy formats, won't be backing up.
Who's going to want that?
I'm not sure. Well, there are some people out there who shoot just JPEG, and so, you know, if it's going to keep that for you, $5 a month, but you're better off using one of the other ones.
Seems like there's better choices out there.
I think for me, at the top of the list is Crash Plan. For sheer, it does everything you need it to do, and it does it fairly easily. And then Carbonite is very good under that, and Backblaze is very good. Mozy, did I mention Mozy? About the same price.
We didn't talk about Mozy.
I found Mozy to be a little bit on the slow side, but maybe that was my internet at the time. It's been a while since I've used Mozy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so we want to know what you guys use for your backup.
What do you use? And don't tell us that you don't use anything. You'll make us cry, because we're working so hard on helping you be better photographers. You're making beautiful pictures. Make sure you're keeping those pictures safe. At the very least, be backing up to an external drive in your house. But, you know, something terrible happens to your house.
Yep.
Yeah.
So lastly, reader questions.
Well,
there were a couple.
We wanted to talk about...
Oh, that's right.
I know. So the 7D Mark II has arrived here in this house. It actually arrived a few days ago while I was away. Somebody unboxed it, pushed buttons.
Who would have done that?
Who would have done that?
Horrible.
First impressions. I landed last night after midnight and have been here in this house for less than 12 hours now, or I guess about 12 hours. I spent most of the time was sleeping. I spent very little time with it. I can say that it feels really nice in the hand, like the 7D did. That high-speed burst rate is impressive. Started to slow down there a little bit.
And you used up all your shutter actuations.
I just used all my shutter actuations in that one demonstration. I actually don't know what card I put in here. I think I put a kind of standard SanDisk card in here, not the fastest. I'd love to do a buffer test and with some different fast cards and see what we get. Really nice user interface. The menu's been updated a little bit, but there's a couple tweaks and things that people aren't talking about that I'm just a little surprised. Well, one is it's USB 3.0. That's nice. Fast download, and it comes with this nice little handy dandy attachment point so that you can wire in stuff to its ports without worrying about it getting yanked out. Right now the 5D Mark III that we're filming with it's got a USB cord out to our little DSLR controller, MiFi device, and I always have to kind of jury rig that, but now we've got this little device that is here. That's nice. I posted that link from Roger over at Lens Rental. Love his posts. If you're into geeky lens and camera stuff, you got to read his stuff at Lens Rental blog. And he took it apart because he wanted to know how weather sealed it was. And serious upgrade from the 7D. So maybe next time it's pouring down rain in a wedding, this is the camera I should be using. And
the 7D, I should note that I actually doused that in water.
Would you call that a submersion? Submersion?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was bad, and it was totally fine.
Yeah, that's right. Which we have shared that information on a podcast at some time, didn't we? About the vase that was sitting on the passenger seat, not buckled in, full of water.
How the heck am I gonna buckle that in?
With your camera sitting on the floor.
Yeah, that was, yeah. Obviously, I was not making smart choices.
So, really nice user interface, I started to say. Nice button system on the back. I'm going to be sharing more information, clearly, about this camera very soon. You know, we got a whole little family of the camera sitting here. You know, I feel like the 7D Mark II out of the gate has gotten kind of a bad rap. I think many people, like me, wanted a 70D Mark II in this. We wanted this kind of do-it-all camera with a little bit more power. And we got that as far as autofocusing capabilities go, and the video autofocusing does seem improved. I'm impressed in tracking my finger. I was watching it track my finger. Really nice. But, you know, no articulating screen, no Wi-Fi. That bummed us out. The video features. And hearing this rumor from DX, or not rumor, this post from DxO, the sensor really is equivalent to older Nikon sensors. Nothing fantastic there. But I'm hearing from plenty of people who want this focusing power, because this serious focusing issue, or focusing power in this, and speed and that burst rate. This is a budget sports photographer's dream. Maybe, you know, budget might be a little bit budget plus a little bit because it's not cheap, but the value you're getting for that focusing is impressive. So it's not a mass market camera as much as the 70D is. It's more targeted, but for those folks, they're very happy. Very happy. So
you'll be hearing more about it
yep.
in the coming weeks.
And seeing some side-by-sides. It's certainly bigger. It's hard to tell because the 70D right now has a tripod plate on the bottom, but it's certainly bigger. It's got full top LCD. Let's listen to the 70D's high-speed shutter.
Let's listen to this one.
It's pretty significant. Let's listen to the 5D Mark III's top speed shutter. Kind of puny. Sad. And the T5i since it's sitting here as well. Oh, I have a that's so sad. That's not fair. That was a, oh no, that's actually a decent card in there. I thought it was a cheap one. So, all right.
Cool. So we have a few questions to wrap this all up.
Reader questions?
Yes. Why don't you get started since I think you know which ones you want to answer.
I'm answering them all. Jason wants to know when the next photo critique is planned. Sorry, travels. I thought we'd try to get one out last week, but we didn't. And so we will have one Monday or Tuesday of this week.
First impression of the 70, you just got it.
That's right. Roger Hunt is bringing his camera and lens in from the cold. It's getting that to be that time of year into the warm house and a lot of condensation formed. Yes, that happens. And, well, you know, as you know, even weather-sealed cameras are not immune to effects of rain and moisture. The best thing to do, and Roger, you and Roy had some conversations down below, and I agree pretty much with all of that, is into your camera bag, and so it warms up slowly. Take it so you don't ever carry a cold camera naked by itself straight into a warm house. Or vice versa, as I ran into this summer a couple times, coming from a air-conditioned beach house out into the humid North Carolina air, when you want to take a sunset picture.
Still the same thing.
Well, yes.
You're still going from cold to warm.
Yes, you are, but I'm going from inside
out.
out.
Yeah, okay, got it.
I lost my train of thought. Oh, fogged up the lens and I couldn't take my sunset picture. So inside camera bag is okay. Even better, get your hands on a gallon-sized Ziploc bag and bring it in and out in that bag sealed up. That will minimize the amount of moisture that is inside the bag, which then minimizes the amount of moisture that can form on the camera bits, including inside. And then you just allow it to warm up slowly and then you open it up. You can even get super careful. I don't know if you need to do this and put a little silicone gel packet or two in there. Those little things that say "do not eat me" that you get in different things.
Yeah, and like putting it in your jacket too, right?
Yes. Yep.
Like just warming it up in your jacket if you don't have a Ziploc bag and you're unprepared.
Keeping it a little bit warmer. Now, is this moisture an issue? You know, if you allow this to happen a lot, it can certainly cause some issues, but it has to happen a lot. Roy mentioned getting some fungus growth in there. That is pretty rare unless you're living in kind of humid climates and you're letting it get moist a lot. Yeah. Normal air, you know, especially in wintertime, very dry, it's not really going to cause an issue. But you should be careful about it. Ziploc bag, let it warm up slowly, and you'll be better off.
Ubaldo Flores, he says he has a T3i, wants to upgrade to a lens, and wonders if
he's got the kit lens with his T3i.
Yep, and he wonders if he should spend money on a prime lens.
Yes. He wants to know, should he go for a higher quality zoom or a prime lens, which is going to be best bang for the buck? I think he even says that. Yes.
You already have a zoom, so I would go ahead and experiment with the prime.
Yep.
And I would probably get a 24 or maybe the 40.
You should watch my video. I'll probably put a link to in a reply to you about 5-6 reasons why you should own a prime lens. Well, I'm sorry, which one did you say? Did you say which one you should experiment with?
Yeah, probably the 24 or the 40.
It depends on what you want to shoot. The 24, which will be out in a couple of weeks, is a fantastic focal length. Here is a tip for figuring out what focal length is going to work for you. You've got a kit lens that does these focal lengths already. Put it roughly at 24. Walk around the house. You could even tape it there with a little piece of gentle tape. walk around. How does that view look? No, it's not going to give you the quality of a prime, and it's not going to give you the wide apertures available to a prime, but it is going to give you the sense of the view. Put it at 50, put it at 40. See what you think works best for you. The 24 and the 40, those tiny little pancakes. I have the 40 right now on the 5D Mark III. The 24 is going to be exactly the same size. Fantastically small, really, really nice. The 50, of course, is a great lens for the money, but I think that 24 is going to be really nice. That's where I would go. I think it's going to come in at about 149. That's my thoughts.
So Elton, he wants to know a best point and shoot to carry around for basic landscape holiday.
Yep. And Elton, I think you kind of asked this somewhere else, or somebody else did very recently. So a second camera to something like the 70D. So you got the 70D. What's a second camera to carry around?
The 70D feels pretty small to me. I would just stick with that.
Well, I don't think you necessarily want smaller. Oh, or possibly best point and shoot to carry around. All right, well, first off, dream, I would have loved to walk around Italy with the A7R and a nice lens. That would have been really sweet. I was certainly happy with the A5100, but the A7R, so much megapixels. And yes, we're supposed to be over the megapixel race, but gosh, it's nice to be able to crop in and really compose after the fact if you wanted to. Also, that dynamic range is fantastic in there. And you can share lenses with something like the 70D. Yes, you're going to be on the crop mode then, but you can. Another camera, the Fuji X-T1. Fantastic, really nice camera.
Those aren't really point and shoots though.
No. Point and shoot, the RX100 Mark III, that Sony camera. Very, very good, very lightweight, nice sensor in there. The new LX100 looks very promising, very interesting. So let's talk a little bit more, you and I, about this, but those off the top of my head, those are my first three picks from Big Daddy A7R. A7 would be fine too. Down to the XT1 and LX100 or the RX100.
Yep.
Okay.
So last question from Simi. Simi says, what would be your plan if you only had one camera on your trip and experienced a hardware failure? What would you do? Where could you go? Any reliable international resources that you could recommend in that situation, or are you just SOL? If you don't have a backup. My answer to you, Simi, is bring a backup. Don't put yourself in that situation. You never know what's going to happen. I honestly don't know that are any international resources that you could just like take your camera and have it back right away. You know, if you're spending a long period of time in one place, then I might look into it and ask around. But I would just bring a backup, whether it's like a really cheap point and shoot or like an old film camera that you have. Bring something in case you have a hardware failure, you have a backup, because how much would it suck if you didn't have something to shoot? Like anything is better than nothing. So. Yep.
Well, I did have a hardware failure. My 5D Mark III didn't work, so
right, but
luckily,
we had plenty of backups.
Well, not plenty of backups.
We had my camera, and then we had the point and shoot.
Okay.
Or the smaller camera.
I mean, don't overlook the iPhone. You made a whole book that we'll be sharing some information about from Artifact Uprising of your iPhone pictures. It's beautiful, lovely, really nice. And that is a nice backup. It certainly isn't as fun as a DSLR with different lenses and focal lengths, but it does take really nice pictures. I think this goes back to Elton's picture of like a second camera, a little point and shoot. Not only is it nice as a backup, but it's nice in the evening when you're going to go out to dinner or something and you don't want a big camera around your neck. You just have a little point and shoot with you that can take nice pictures of you guys enjoying yourselves, and when you want to travel later too, you have that option as well. So I really think, you know, a DSLR with some other small point and shoot, or an iPhone or some other cell phone with a good camera is nice.
Yeah. And the very, very last thing, actually, are we going to tell people what the sexy pasta was? Is that like...
Well, I don't know. Nobody is like, oh my God, what was the sexy pasta?
Oh, okay. So you guys don't care.
But I think they do. I just wanted to show. So in Sorrento, we were walking by, and here was this handmade sign that said "Sexy Pasta," and
we're like, "What do they mean?
What do
Is
they
it
mean?
the bow ties? That's not really sexy." And then we look. There's one bag left over on the side of that.
Wieners. Little pasta wieners. Now, in context, we think this is because
Pompeii
and Herculaneum. Pompeii, really. Yeah, Pompeii. They've really run with this whole, like, it was a sex-crazed place with their little, you know, wieners on the walls there and stuff like that. So that's what Sexy Pasta was. And that's a great place to end.
Yes.
Let's go back to the picture of you with a Nutella jar on your head.
I'm starting to get hangry.
Are you? Do you want some Nutella?
Anything.
Or maybe you want one of these tubes of sauces for your fries.
I actually do. That was really delicious.
Did we have it?
I know it doesn't look delicious like that.
Nathan shared with us?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. All right, so back to us.
So thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for another critique and more videos coming, and for lots and lots of giveaways.
That's right.
And big announcements that are coming.
That's right. And link down below. Go check out squarespace.com/Toby. Start a free trial, no credit card required. Save 10% when you're ready to purchase. Super simple, drop dead easy portfolio site building.
That's right.
And we'll be back next week. Thanks so much for watching.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.